Hello, guten tag, bonjour, and aloha, everyone. I'm Brandon Alba, and today we're talking about NATO's role in the modern world, specifically their role in world affairs from 1991 to present. Just remember, AP World History has to cover a ton of content from 1250 to present day, so not all of world history is covered in the course, including this. And if you thought NATO wasn't relevant after the Cold War just because it was over and they were made to fight Soviet influence, well, yes, but also no. Remember, we're in a globalized world, and while NATO is one of many globalized organizations that works against issues on a global scale, typically political and social issues. Also, they would probably have a different name if their whole mission was to fight Russia. Other than that, let's get those brain gears turning. First off, just to refresh your memory, we have to go over exactly what NATO is and the role in the Cold War. So, just for you to remember, NATO stands for North American Treaty Organization. Formed in the year of 1949, they're an alliance made up of North American and European countries. The alliance works towards values such as peace, liberty, democracy, and balance across Europe and the globe through involvement in various military and crisis management operations in areas of the world such as the Balkans and Afghanistan. The organization was made to protect the countries and the allies of those countries, which was relevant during the time of its formation, since North America and Europe needed protection against Soviet threats and influence. Just remember, one huge concept in world history is cause and effect, and the whole formation of NATO and its actions in the Cold War are all responsive to the rising threat of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union's system of communism rivaled the fundamentals and ideas of American capitalism, plus a continuation of Soviet expansionism and militarism, all created a need for this alliance. Not only that, cooperation was already on the way. With the Marshall Plan and rebuilding projects after World War II, it was agreed to create an agreement, which is, of course, NATO. The Soviet Union and Eastern Europe came to rival NATO with their own agreement, the Warsaw Pact, a similar agreement that had defense and cooperation in mind. Sadly, they don't get that happily ever after. I also want you to know that NATO operates under many important policies, one of which is called collective defense. It's relatively easy to think about. If one ally in NATO is attacked, it's considered an attack on countries as a whole, aka a collective attack. The NATO treaty is crystal clear on this one. An attack on one nation shall be regarded as an attack on all of them. Admiral James G. Stavridis. This was solely important in the Cold War and part of why it's called the Cold War, because one attack on NATO or the Warsaw Pact could have invoked large consequences, such as another world war with the combined threat of nuclear warfare. And NATO was made to prevent wars, especially world wars. Seriously, another world war wasn't needed after two in the span of about 30 years. Now, since you know what NATO is, let's move to 1991, the start of post Cold War and the modern world. To start, we need to talk about the lead up to NATO's first post Cold War mission. And to do that, we need to talk about one country, Yugoslavia. So in 1991, with the dissolvement of the Soviet Union, former parts of the Union located in the Balkans, Eastern Europe, and Asia became free from the Union's sphere of influence. Newly gained independence meant huge decisions for countries like Yugoslavia and where their future should go without Soviet Union influence. And this is a bit hard for Yugoslavia because they're not just one republic making decisions. There's six republics as one Union republic making decisions, and all six republics have their own views and ideas. With the fall of the USSR, economic and political instability in Yugoslavia grew with the six republics that made up Yugoslavia as a whole, debating over where their future hold. Some parties advocated for six newly independent nations, while others advocated for a stay as six republics part of the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia disbanded in 1991, and the six individual republics started to blame each other for the dissolvement. Slovenia and Croatia blamed Serbia for controlling Yugoslavia's government, and they retaliated with an accusation of political separation. And this is where NATO steps in. Tensions equal war, and eventually, countries fell under war in which NATO had to step in to aid and resolve the conflict. This started NATO's first main mission in the post Cold War days, their mission in Bosnia and Herzegovina. NATO used military force and airstrikes against Bosnian Serbs holding the city of Sarajevo, and eventually the war stopped with the signing of the Dayton Accords. With the operations in Bosnia staying till 2004 to secure peace, NATO intervened in more former Yugoslavic republics such as Serbia and Kosovo, and would continue its process of military intervention on the path to peace and stabilization, all through the end of the 20th century up to current day. NATO could have been dissolved years ago and was actually close to that. But with the dissolvement of countries and conflicts created by the post Cold War era, the need for security and crisis management kept rising. Moving on with that, NATO would have to face one of the US's and world's largest events in the 21st century. You guessed it, 9/11. With 9/11, NATO began its mission against terrorism and its goal to stop Taliban forces in Afghanistan. Coincidentally, the Cold War is a huge cause for this due to the Soviet Union's intervention in Afghanistan in the 1980s and the Taliban's rise to power. This is a pattern that the majority of affairs NATO has intervened in after the Cold War, because most have been partially or fully caused by the Cold War itself. With the attacks on 9/11, NATO responded with the advocating of better security and missions against terrorism. Just another note, a common theme with NATO is that when a huge event happens, they've been there to adjust and create a plan and adapt to the new challenges. They did that with Yugoslavia, they did it with 9/11, they're even doing it right now with Ukraine, but we'll talk about that a bit later. So, other than its missions in Europe, NATO does take up other crisis management missions that promote peace. The world is changing, and with it are new issues to resolve. And NATO works around the globe with issues, not just in Europe. NATO has been working with the African Union to resolve old and new issues across Africa. African Union officials have been offered education as a strive for proper education across Africa. They also work to train African Union peace operations in topics such as strategic planning and support. If you think about it, NATO is a global organization and continues to be, with new challenges arising every single day. Even some affect us in the United States and a ton of other countries. NATO looks to keep up with cybersecurity in defense of not just land, air, and sea, but also cyber and the internet. They're working with new technologies to be able to carry out military missions and preserve the environment at the same time. They're working with women's rights organizations to work towards better gender equality. NATO is, and still in the future, will be a continuing factor in the stability of the world. Going back to new threats and challenges, NATO could be in one of their biggest challenges right now in the time of 2023 and could affect us even more in the future. With Russia's annexation of Crimea and the invasion of Ukraine, NATO and the US have put loads of focus into a possible second Cold War, again with Russia and NATO at the center of it. History has been happening as we speak, and just like World War I leading to World War II, the Cold War's aftermath has had a buildup of actions with independent Eastern Europe and the new Russian Federation that has led to very similar conditions where we could be in a war with little to no fighting, instead with a fight for power. This continues to extend the purpose and relevance of NATO in the modern world, as with the threats of Russia, the need for peace and security continues to be vital. NATO published one of their most important concepts right after the attacks on Ukraine, called the 2022 Strategic Concept, a concept that outlines NATO's plan for the future ever since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Not only that, members are still continuing to join NATO in the wake of this new threat. Finland just joined NATO this year in 2023. Sweden is looking to join soon, and Ukraine is also looking to join. NATO didn't just play their role in Ukraine, they played their role in something we all experienced. The whole world experienced this event. COVID-19. Remember when we all had to wear masks and there was no toilet paper? Yeah, that time. NATO worked to provide medical equipment and supplies all around the world. They're a truly globalized organization. That's really important. Just like the United Nations, just like the World Health Organization, just like a ton of other global organizations. They work all around the world for shared purposes. Also, NATO works with some of these organizations for common purposes that they share. Both the United Nations and NATO have been working together since the 90s in crisis management and security operations. Cooperation equals success in this globalized world. The great thing about NATO and the modern world is that history with their involvement is still being made on a global scale. We've seen current events with Russia and Ukraine still taking place to this day. Kosovo is still fighting to be fully recognized as its own nation. It is possible that NATO is in a Cold War like situation with Russia, where there is no direct fighting between NATO and the Russian Federation. And there's always new threats coming up. Modern history is being made right in front of our eyes, and it's influenced what NATO's true role is, what its true missions will be, and it provides possible missions for the future. And its decisions could influence how our future holds out. We live in a truly globalized world, interconnected by technology and relation, full of new challenges every day, and even we're still uncertain how the course of history could play out. The one thing we do know for now is that NATO is continuing to make strides towards peace and equilibrium in the modern world. I'm Brandon Albaugh, and stating from the words of my teacher, Mr. K, stay off the streets and don't make shame. Thanks for watching.